Hey everyone, it's Brandy and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Mr. Romance by Leisa Raven, and this is the first book in a companion series. This book follows Eden Tate, who went to school to become an investigative journalist, but she's currently working as a clickbait article writer, and she absolutely hates her job. But she hasn't found a story to push her career in the direction that she wants it to go. One day she hears about Mr. Romance, who's basically a high-end escort. For $5,000 a day, he's willing to give his clients the date of their dream. Eden is determined to write an article about this guy, exposing him for, quote on the back of the book, it says, his ability to swindle lonely society women out of their fortunes. In order to keep his business as well as himself a secret, Max challenges Eden to go on 3 dates with him, and if by the end of those 3 dates she doesn't fall in love with him, then he gives her permission to publish her story. But if by the end of those 3 dates she falls in love with him, she has to completely drop the story. And of course Eden thinks that she can't, like there's no way that she could possibly fall in love with this man by the end of those 3 dates. So she agrees to this, and the story kind of takes off from there. So the first thing I want to talk about in the story is the characters. I actually really enjoyed the characters. The first relationship that we get to see is the main character Eden with her sister. Like, as soon as the book opens up, we get to see the two of them together because they are actually living together. So we get to see the dynamic of their relationship and how they grew up and how they currently are. And like, that was one of the major factors for me, because obviously the romance was going to be a big part of the book, but I really loved that the family aspect was a big part of this book as well. And also their grandmother was also included in the story. Now, though her sister and her grandmother were really the only two family members that we got to see, we get a little bit of background of her family situation and where she came from, and kind of how she is the way she is at this point at the beginning of the book. So we get to see a lot about that, and I really it was really believable, and I feel like all the characters were really well thought out, and I really enjoyed all the characters. And honestly, I kind of wanted to see more from some of the characters. I know her sister, for like a good portion of the book, her sister was out of town, and seeing the two of them interact was one of my favorite parts of the book, so I really missed that. But I believe the second book in the series actually follows Eden's sister, so I'm really looking forward to reading that. And hopefully we get to see more from Eden, because obviously her sister is the main character, but hopefully we get to see some appearances from her sister as well as their grandmother, because their grandmother is hilarious, and she makes everything pretty much way better when she's in the picture and when anything is happening with her. As can be expected with this, we get to see a little bit of Max, but for the majority of the book I feel like we only get to see what he allows to be seen. So learning more about him and where he came from, and actually how he got into the business of being Mr. Romance, as his clients call him. He doesn't actually like to be called that, but we get to see more of how he came to be in the business that he's currently in and why he's actually doing it. And I just like all the characters. I felt like were really well thought out, and honestly, by the end of this, I wanted to see more of them. So I feel like that's a good sign of characters when you get to the end of the story but you want to see more of them, because they're that well thought out. And I feel like there's so much more of their story that you could tell, but I didn't feel dissatisfied with the ending. I just wanted more of the characters. Next thing I wanted to talk about was, I guess, the whole premise of the story. So like at the beginning, I was with Eden Tate on being skeptical about this, of Max's business of being this man who went on dates with women, and like he gave them their dream date. And first of all, for the fact that each date was like $5,000, like you had to give him, it was like $1,000 deposit to even be considered for him to go on a date with you, and then the actual date was like another $4,000. So it's just like, it was, you know, a steep price for a man to go on a date with you. There's no sex involved on these dates, and he kind of has like a strict guideline that he goes by. So it's just like if you break any of his rules, he like immediately cancels his date. That's the end of it. But like it seemed too good to be true. It seemed like something sketchy going on. So I was on the fence about it at the beginning of the book, but as we go along and actually see what he does, like, I was kind of in the same shoes as Eden. I was like following along, and I was just like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. And I was just like, well, I see what he does, and I see the benefit of what he does and why it not only helps his clients, but it also helps him. And it was just, it was crazy. It just, words, me, I don't know how to speak them. But like I was saying, I do, like, as the story went along, I kind of, even though I was skeptical at first about it, I started to open up and really understand and accept what was going on within the story, or what was going on with his business, I guess you could say. One thing that kind of bugged me within the story is, although the characters, like for the majority of the book, they're really open with each other and they pretty much talk about almost anything with each other, but there comes a certain point in the book that they kind of just like withdraw from each other, and they don't say what they really want to say, or they don't say what's going on, and it didn't feel right to me. I felt like something more was going on than it probably was. Like, I felt like it was something, it didn't feel right to me that they would pull away from each other. Like, I understood why Eden wasn't saying everything that she wanted to say, but I felt like she still pushed herself past what she normally would have done with anyone. And Max, I felt like he was drawing back, and he was just like, trust me, you know, I'm doing this for you, and blah 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 blah. And I was just like, it didn't feel right to me. And once it was all explained, I understood it, but I just didn't like the fact that it got to that point where it's just like, you thought everything was okay, but then all of a sudden maybe everything's not okay, because it seemed like it was more going on. And I didn't doubt him. It was just like the fact that he knew everything that Eden had went through, and he kind of understood her way of thinking, but then at the same point, like, he knew how her mind worked, but at the same time he didn't give her an explanation for some of his actions. He was just like, yeah, just give me time, and he's like, give me time, trust me, everything's gonna be okay, I'm doing this for you. And then when she finally expressed, like, she actually told him that like, at a point she told him how she felt, and he was just like, just give me more time, I promise it's all gonna work out. And he's like, I'm doing this for you. And he's just like, I want everything to work out. And then I think at one point she had asked him, like, what are you doing? And he was just like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And I was just like, no, that's not how it works, especially with the way she thinking. It's just that it sit well with me. I ended up giving this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I think if you like this genre, like new adult romance type stuff, I definitely suggest you guys checking this out. If you have read this already, let me know some opinions that you had on this book, and if not, let me know if you would be interested in checking this out, because like I said, I would suggest it. And if you have any other like new adult recommendations for me, definitely let me know, because I'm trying to explore the genre more. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you check out Mr. Romance by Leisa Raven, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye.